Hello, everyone. This is Shon Hyneman here with another episode of 40s Unfiltered. And I am with,
Jason Lockhart.
what's up, Jason? How you doing, man?
What's going on? What's going on, man? What's going on? It's another day, man. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And this segment is going to be another great one. I love talking about this topic. We're going to address fatherhood.
Fatherhood. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And
Great topic, man.
there's so many angles we can take with this whole thing on fatherhood, especially being two black married men, right?
Right, right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So many angles we can look at it in this aspect.
And with us having blended families, that's another one.
Yep. Blended families is really big. Yep.
Yeah, man. So I was doing a little research on this from the Institute for Family Studies, and I found this to be interesting doing my research. The share of Black children born to single mothers have more than tripled from about 24% in 1960 to nearly 70% in 2018 from Institute for Family Studies. And I believe that number might even be higher in 2021
Wow.
because that was back in 2018.
Wow.
So what do you think from just seeing this statistic? What do you think about this thing with the whole single, like, let's kind of give a quick breakdown of why do you think are there so many single parent homes?
I think ultimately at the end of the day, I think it's the culture and it's the way things are set up. I don't want to go into, theories and stuff like that and just kind of get more so political about it, but this is unfiltered. So if I think honestly, it's the way it's been set up. Uh, I think at the end of the day, the demise is to split the structured family, where you have, of course, the father, and you have the mother, and then you have the children. And I think the demise is to basically just split the family. So I think where it comes from is just splitting the family. The father goes his separate way, the mother goes their separate way, and ultimately at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, the parent the mother takes the children, how it normally goes, and it's when you end up with the thing with the single mothers. And I think at the end of the day, it's really just to get the man out of the picture. Um, sad to say it, but it is just the way things set up, even in the governmental structure of it. I know there's been cases where you'll have a person say, okay, well, I'm getting ready for an inspection, so I can't have this man here in my house. So you got to leave. And it's just it's sad, but it's just the way that it's set up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's been like that. My brother told me, my brother's a couple of years older than me. He told me that he remembered that growing up as a kid,
Yeah.
that he had some people come over to inspect the house to make sure there wasn't a man in the house.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It's really sad the way that that's set up, and what it does is it teaches women, okay, so I'm going to be single, I'm going to let I'm going to depend on the government, I'm going to let them take care of me, provide me with food, housing, etc. And it's like, I don't need a man basically, because I have all these amenities coming in from the government taking care of me. So what's the point of me having a man around? Just to please my, other desires and stuff like that. But outside of that, what's the point of me having a man around? And I think with that being said, also the way that the judicial system is set up, um, quiet as it kept, you had the whole 90s era where you had the three strikes, the crack epidemic. All those things took out the role of the man. It's funny that you said that, because the statistics showed back from the 70s on up to 2018, and it was a dramatic increase in that, with the man being out the picture. And if you just go back and just study history and just show what was going on during the late 60s and the early 70s past to the 2018, and if you just look back and just see the history of it, you'll see you can actually pinpoint. It was a show on Netflix called 13.
I seen that.
Uh, Man, if you can find it, I don't think it was I don't think it's on YouTube anymore. But if you can find that episode, I recommend you highly to watch it because it shows the decline of the black men, in the home. So it's really a good thing to watch. But I'll get back to you, Shon.
Mm. No, for sure. I agree. And I want to flip this a little bit because what what about, let's look at it from a different perspective. Let's look at, because that a lot of times that might come from lower income homes.
Mm-hmm.
But what about the educated sisters?
Yeah,
Be-
absolutely. That
because
was my next tech. That was my next thing to talk about. But absolutely, you have sisters. They get the education, they get all these sophisticated degrees, and they climb up in the scale, and basically they have this mindset. I worked hard for this, so I don't need you. What do I need you for? I'm more educated. I make more money than you. Like what are you here for? And a lot of times that discourages men, and it causes them to just walk away from the whole picture.
mm-hmm. Yeah, because I've noticed that there are, and even with single parenting, right? You look at single parenting where, and I know I've struggled with this because I was married before. And I remarried. So, of course, I've been in two situations where I've had blended families in both situations.
Wow.
And even in both times, there was a time and period, especially in my first marriage, where I felt like I had to get in where I fit in,
Mm-hmm.
opposed to the kid having to get in where they fit in.
Mm-hmm.
Like just say God's original design, where
Correct.
it should be husband, wife, and I know I might sound antiquated by today's standards, but where it's husband and wife, and then there's children. And I think with today, you have a lot of single parents where moms are good with their kid, and then they try to develop a relationship with the husband.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have to try to make the relationship work between her and her husband, as opposed to with her and her child. It's just a natural thing,
Wow, man.
you know.
Wow. I mean, and it's funny you said that because definitely that seems to transpire in blended families, and uh I'm struggling with it. Even till this day, there's times where there is a discrepancy with me and my spouse concerning the kids, and sometimes it's like I feel left out,
Mm-hmm.
and I understand that it's nothing intentional, but it's just the way that things are just set up. Uh, just to be transparent, we were talking to our therapist about the situation, and our therapist, just shedded some light upon me, especially. She was just saying that because my question was, why do the kids come to their mother more than they come to me? And she was just saying that that's all across the board. It's just a natural instinct that the kids have to just come to their mother for everything. And it has nothing to do with you. It's nothing against you. It's nothing against your position in the home. It's just a natural instinct that the kids have. Now, where the conflict comes in at is a lot of times the mother does not redirect the kid to the spouse or to the husband. And that's where the conflict comes in at. You in marriages, a lot of times in blended families, you have to know that you have to be a united front. Whenever one thing about the kids, they are designed also to manipulate. A lot of kids are, and sometimes they don't know that they're doing it. A lot of times kids are manipulators.
Mm-hmm.
And so their design is, okay, so I'm going to find the weakest link to this united front with these parents. I'm going to go to them. I'm going to ask them a series of questions, things that I can do, things that I can't get away with, things that I can get away with. And I'm going to see that they say, yeah. I'm going to see that they consent, the husband, the spouse, or whoever, whichever role that you're in, spouse or husband. I mean, wife or husband, sorry. So that's what happens. But you have to redirect that person. Okay, whatever mama say, whatever daddy say. We have to be a united front. You can't say, oh, you can't give them the solution or give them the answer without going directly to your spouse about it. But I'm sorry, that's kind of my soapbox on that. But yeah,
No, that's good. I totally agree, because kids, man, they will play against you.
absolutely,
They will,
absolutely.
and this isn't no shade towards mama's kids, because mamas be serious about their babies, and I
Oh
get
man,
it.
they don't play.
Right.
They don't play. They
But you
don't
gotta,
play.
and I like what you said, you gotta have the united front, because even with my 7-year-old, I'll tell him something, I'll tell him no about something. Then half hour later, he go ask his mama, and I say, "What did I say though?"
Facts.
You know what I'm
Facts.
saying? And now here's where this is where my wife and I agree at, because she'll say, "Well, what did your dad say?"
There you go.
See,
There you go.
that's where your united front is,
There you go.
because if you told your child no about something, he go ask his mom, and the mom says yes. Now you have conflicting, you have some issues right there.
Mm-hmm.
So it confuses the child. And then even as a child, they grow up. If mama always overriding daddy, they grow up, especially for young boys, they grow up thinking, oh, everything goes through the woman. Everything, like I don't have
Yeah.
any, you know what I'm saying? We train them that this is what she says, that's a go. So even as young boys, and from a psychological perspective, they even start tripping out in their head, because they thinking, well, where's my value as a man? Like, do I just
Come
agree with
on.
everything as a woman say? And like, where's my authority? Because dad might have been a chump.
Right. A jellyback.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. Facts.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, so that's why I think it's important that y'all have y'all have things that y'all work together as a united front.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And also one thing too, Shon, it with the kids, it teaches them sometimes how to subconsciously how to be indecisive. They can't make sound decisions. Whenever it's a division in the parent structure, it causes them to be indecisive. They can't make sound, prudent, concise decisions. They find themselves always in the middle of the road, not being able to make a clear, concise decision about things. Whenever you have one parent saying, "Yeah, you can do this," and you have another parent saying, "No, you can't do this." So it's like, dang, what do I do? So it leaves a big gray area of confusion in their child. Yes,
Mm,
sir.
I totally
Absolutely.
agree. And I was also reading from the Institute of Family Studies, because there was a lot of great information about this. It's kind of dense, but it talks about differential educational outcomes are also a barrier to success for Black families. Black males, for example, still experience greater impediments to graduating from college. And when they do, they are more likely to graduate from for-profit institutions with larger amounts of college debt.
Wow.
So can you speak on that from educational? Because what do you think is the Black man's biggest struggle as far as us graduating from colleges and with degrees? What are your thoughts on that? What do you think holds Black men back in that area as far as an educational piece?
From graduating from college,
Yes.
um, it's a lot of things. I think one, the biggest thing is just lack of guidance, lack of ignorance. I mean, I'm not saying not lack of ignorance, but ignorance,
Right.
not actually knowing what to do. Um, I'll be honest with you. It wasn't up until I say ninth or 10th grade that I even have a desire to go to college. I was always taught, you finish high school, you find you a good job, and that was that. I didn't have any aspirations of wanting to go to college, but it wasn't until I met one of my great mentors, Mr. Tony A. Stewart, who basically showed me a different aspect of everything. This man here, he grew up in a single home, single mother. His father had passed away. And basically, he actually veered off into the wrong things. When he graduated high school, man, and became like a lucrative street pharmaceutical person. And so it wasn't until he had a talk with his mother and someone else, some other strong men, showed him a better way and showed him, hey, look, man, you can go to college, man. You a businessman like this. Like, can you put that same energy into pursuing a degree and becoming an entrepreneur or in the business aspect of it? So he went back to college, man, and he didn't look back, man. Got his master's degree and got into the education field, man, and just basically just took me under his wings, man, and just showed me a different way, man. And so after him just talking to me, man, and just kind of just leading by example, I had a desire to want to go to college. And so with that, I actually went. So back to what I was just saying, basically, I believe it's the lack of guidance and just ignorance, not knowing what to do as first. And I think part of that also plays in the community and the environment that you live in. If you don't have a lot of people coming into your high school, um, promoting college, things of that nature, I do know that when I was in education, that's all I saw. So I believe it's gotten a lot better because I did teach at a lower economical school. So I do believe seeing like college flags and paraphernalia all over, just kind of promoting the whole college thing. Go to school, go to school, go to school. And so it has gotten a lot better. But one thing I will say is that I do believe the first and foremost thing that takes away from young Black men going to college is just the lack of guidance and ignorance, not knowing what actually to do, not having somebody say, I'm gonna show you a better way, basically.
No, I
Yes,
agree.
sir.
That's good, man, because even at my daughter's school before she graduated, like you say, they had a bunch of banners of different colleges and
Mhm.
HBCUs, all kind of stuff in their school. Everything was just college, college, college. And I'm like, man, that is awesome. Because when I was in high school, I mean, we didn't
None
have
of that.
that. It
None
was
of that.
just, it was just more of go to school, and get you a good job, or you climb the ladder, you become a manager, you become a boss, and then you try to, it's just that always reaching to be more within that company. Hopefully you can get you a good retirement plan. And of course, things have changed. We just live in a different day and age now.
Yeah, we do. We do. We do.
You
We
know.
do. And I don't want to discourage anyone that did not get their degree or
Mm.
did not go to college and things of that nature. The I believe now that I'm more on a entrepreneurial mindset and I see things a little bit differently now. Uh, if I was 18, what I would do is I would get a trade first, make so much money, pay my way for college. Just different things like that I wasn't taught then. Because college, of course, is a socialist concept, and it does generate debt. So if you're not careful, if you're not, on the bright side of the academia level, and just to get scholarships and like that, it does create a great surge amount of debt. And if you don't have the background as far as financial with your parents, the single mother, single father per se, and you don't have that, to actually pay your debt and your bills off, it's going to create a lot of debt. So like I said, I'm not knocking, you not going to school, and I'm not knocking. I recommend both, but I just want to point that out.
No,
Yes,
I
sir.
agree. And I do think, especially for young men, I think a trade is very important. I, man, that, it's more laser focused because a lot of kids too, and I want to get off track, but a lot of kids, when they go into college, they don't know what they're going for. They just going for the experience. And I'm like, that experience is going to cost you.
Exactly. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. So yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah, you just switched up your major 6 or 7 times. It's just like, man, look,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. And then even also, a lot of people don't even look at the community college level. They don't even think about taking that, because when I was starting out, my wife was like, let's go to start a community college level, and then you work your way from there, because a lot of people are just thinking about jumping into a 4-year university, and depending on where you go, it's going to cost you.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly, Shon. There are some actual community colleges that are designed that has it's called, I believe it's the hybrid program, where
Mm-hmm.
they've connected with 4-year institutions that you can basically take all your classes there and graduate from the university, the big university. So I mean, there's ways, man. Community college is an excellent idea. Um, from an economical standpoint and just period, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Because as a man, you could get caught with student debt, uh, child support,
Yeah.
alimony. I when I went through my divorce, I had to pay child support and alimony and student loans.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, I got
Wow.
hit with that all at one time.
Wow.
Yeah. So every move that you make, let it be strategic. If you're gonna finish college, stick with it and finish.
Yeah,
Um,
think with
and,
it.
yeah, and know that having a kid is gonna cost you if you don't plan on marrying, and things of that nature. It's going, and then that's even something for women to consider. And I don't want to get too off track, but because some women like, I don't want to be with a man who have to pay child support every month because you're taken out of the house. You know.
Yeah, yeah,
And as a woman, if you don't have any children, that's cool. My only thing is, the only talking about you want to date, you want a man with no children, and you got kids.
right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think you have to, um, one, know your worth, and then set realistic expectations in choosing, your not necessarily choosing a spouse, but just have an open mind, of what's to come with you, because you got to say, like you said, you can't have 8 kids and then I'm over exaggerating, but you can't have multiple kids and then expect the person that you desire to not have any. That's not fair.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I've been hearing this big thing, I guess, on social media. It's been going on lately, about people not wanting to wear, guys not wanting to wear condoms, and then I guess that's like a new thing, I guess. But I'm like, that's been going
Wow.
on forever.
Wow. It all goes back to accountability and responsibility, and that's one thing in fatherhood too. You have to be accountable. You have to be responsible. You're any, like what the guy said on Boys in the Hood. Anybody can plant the seed, but it takes a real man and a real father to take care of that seed and be responsible. And I want to watch how I say this, because a lot of times, we get into a situation where we'll be a father. We have great intentions to be responsible and be there for the child and take care of it and everything, but maybe we're not feeling the young lady that we had the child with, and that's okay.
Man, speak
I,
on that. Go in detail about that, because I think a lot of brothers struggle with that.
I mean, it's okay. It's okay. It's not the end of the world, but it's okay. It's okay as long as you are responsible and as long as you are there for that child. As long as you, I mean, that's not the ideal way of having a structured house, but at the end of the day, your situation. And I believe that God, that's one thing about God. He graces us enough to go through things and have learning experiences. And you and that mother could, definitely co-parent and be great parents to that child. And I don't think it will take away anything. I mean, that there may be some deficits, but however, I think the child will still come out to be a great citizen, and things of that nature. I just believe that you're not obligated to that person if if you feel that it's too toxic for you to be with that person and it's not going to work out. It's okay to be that great father and take care, as long as you are taking care of that child and being a father to him or she.
Yeah, I agree, because sometimes I think some men even might try to hang on to the relationship a little longer than expected to try to make it work, you know.
Absolutely.
But because and that's another thing, you talk about co-parenting, man, that's another show within itself, like trying to
Right.
co-parent effectively, because she might have some bitterness towards you or vice versa, and then it end up spilling over into the child's personal life,
Absolutely.
you know.
Absolutely.
Because there was a time even with my ex-wife and I where co-parenting wasn't healthy. It was one of them things where I was still the villain and I had moved on my life, and she was still frustrated or whatever, and I get it, but at the same time, that shouldn't stop you from effectively co-parenting or maybe trying to throw dirt on my name or vice versa. And that's one thing I always told my daughter, that I would never throw dirt on her mother's name, because I was with her.
Right. So
you
what does
know
that mean? Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So and that's something where we have to protect our children, because we can start talking bad about the mother or the father, and then the child has this skewed view of that other parent, And then one day you will have that conversation with that child, and they're like, man, I was thinking about you this whole time, and I didn't even know what was really happening.
Right, right. And that's the hard part of it too, also. And I want to speak to the women that are watching this also. Um, please, if you are having some type of like discrepancy between the person that you're parenting the child with, please do not take that out on him. If he's there, if he wants to take care of this child, if he wants to be there and be in that child's life, do not allow the bitterness or the toxicity, or the unhealed areas in your life to affect the way that you guys parent together that child, because at the end of the day, it's affecting the child, not you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, that's who's going to pay the price for it at the end of the day. Because what it's going to be, it's going to cause them to be a whole different adult.
Yep.
They're going to have all sorts of issues, and they're not going to understand where it comes from. But in essence, you're the root of it.
Yep.
So if you are in a situation, and I'm speaking to the ladies, if you are in a situation, I can, if you get therapy, have some Jesus moments, but just try to, in all your capacity of power, try to mend the relationship with the person that you're parenting with, and try to work that out, and not necessarily for you and that person, but just for the child's sake. Don't neglect your child from seeing that father. I have a friend right now. He hasn't seen this child in 5 years, paying child support, everything, on time and everything. And I feel really bad to him, because it's times like this, we just came from the holiday, and it's times like this where he gets really emotional because he can't see his child. And it's all because the woman is bitter, pretty
Mm-hmm.
much, and won't allow him to see his child. And again, especially with the young men, that really affects them. That really affects them, because it's put in their perception that men are bad people. Men are irresponsible. Why? They abandon me. So I'm gonna do the same thing to a woman,
Yep.
subconsciously.
Yep.
Like we always say, I don't want to ever be like my dad. I don't want to ever be like my mom.
Yeah.
And subconsciously we end up being just like them. There are characteristics about ourselves. There are things that we do, and we ask ourselves, why are we doing these things? And it's because it's in our subconscious. It's that inner child that we haven't dealt with yet.
Yep.
And you don't want to cause someone to develop that, and they don't even know why.
Mm,
At least let them realize where the source comes from.
yeah.
So I'm sorry. That was my
Yeah.
soapbox.
Oh no, man. No, you good. Again, this is 40s Unfiltered, man. You got to keep 100. I remember well, yesterday we was over my mother-in-law house and we having Thanksgiving. And
Mhm.
my wife and I, we talked about this previously, but I decided to bring it up while we were at the dinner table. And I remember going through my divorce, and that previous year, say like around October, um, my ex-wife and I, we were already separated. So I was staying in my own place, she was staying in her own place. But that year I had Thanksgiving and Christmas by myself because she had my daughter.
Mhm.
And I was just like, man, this sucked. First time in my life, because my immediate family lived in Cleveland. I was in Arizona. So that Christmas and Thanksgiving, I was by myself. I was like,
Wow.
man. So, but that following year, when I ended up meeting my wife, I remember it was coming around that time again. I was like, oh boy, here we go. And we were talking on the phone one day, and she said, she said, you will never have to spend another holiday alone. You know what I'm saying? Because
Wow.
we were together.
Man,
Yeah.
man, man.
Yeah.
That scripture. I mean, when you said that, man, that scripture just popped up, man. When Jesus had told the disciples, he said, "For my yoke is easy and my burdens are light," man. And a lot of times, we take that scripture in context of just the man being the yoke, and the yoke breaker, and the person of rest, to come
Mm-hmm.
upon a wife. But uh honestly, man, the wife can take that thing too, man, and be that burden breaker, be that person that they can, rest upon, that breath of fresh air. And as you were describing it, man, that's just what it reminds me of, man, of That's how you know that that person is for you, man. When it's something that they can say in their words, man, that just speaks life to you and just, you know, resuscitates some dead things, man, that were once in you that was good,
Mm-hmm.
and it just brings back life to you, man. You know, for somebody to tell you, man, you won't ever spend. I'm getting even chills talking about this. You won't ever spend another holiday alone, man. That's powerful, man. That's powerful.
Man, yeah. And like you said, it's times like that, man, that these people are special, that that they're supposed to be a part of your destiny for a reason. That's not for everybody. Everybody won't say that to you. You know what I'm saying? And for us to be in two different states at that time, and sure enough, because Thanksgiving, I caught that flight to Texas to have Thanksgiving with her.
Wow. Wow.
Christmas, caught that flight right back down there to be with her. She got a big family anyway, so it was just like
Wow.
it was just that much love. So, but that was special to me. I also want to talk about too, and help me understand this from men that I think with women, they carry such a burden with being stuck with the child that do you think men do you think men almost know that they're not going to be stuck with the child, so they really don't care if they have a child with the woman? Because very few women are willing to, and I know some, but very few are willing to drop that kid off at their house and be like, nope, here's your child, take care of him. Do you think men almost kind of play on that, knowing that a woman won't do something like that? Like a man know that she's not going to call him on this stuff?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I believe that absolutely, 100%. And let me tell you why. And I'll tell on myself a little bit. Uh, let me see. So part of that sometimes is that, yeah, like I think when you're dealing with the person and you begin to establish some rapport with them and know them, yeah, even with me and my wife, like there are things that I know that she's just gonna do, and I just be like, okay, you know, I'm not that brutal when it comes to like just dropping a kid off or anything like that, because one, granted, God forbid, we're not in a situation
Right.
to do that, but I wouldn't do that. But I'm just saying, like, I know what I can get away with and what I can't get away with.
Mm,
And so, I think in the relationship, the woman established that she kind of, subconsciously lets the man know, like, okay, this is what you can get away with, and this is what you can't get away with. So
mm,
I think there's a part in every man to know, okay, this is what I'm gonna do, and this is what you're gonna do, unless a conversation has been established to create, the boundaries and what roles we're gonna play in this. And everybody has a tailored situation. Like, since me and my wife are together, like, there's expectations that she has of me and that she has, expressed and told me, hey, this is what I need you to do. Like, when we had my first child, my first biological child,
mm.
Valor, uh, there was a lot of resentment with my wife because she felt like I wasn't per se present, when it came to putting him to sleep, uh, uh, changing his diapers, just kind of like just taking the load off of her. She felt like she had to do everything. And the thing about it, what was unfair to me is that she never expressed that to me. It was one thing, we were in therapy. He should just know this. How am I supposed to know this? Like, and I kept on explaining to her, like, just I've never I stepped into the role, Father, because as a believer, the Bible says that Jesus is a father to the fatherless. So I'm trying to be like Christ. So I'm going to step into that role and become a father to the fatherless. However, the know-how, that's going to have to all come from you communicating with me and the help of the Holy Spirit. So I didn't know. And I would always explain it to her, like, look, I don't know. Can you help me? Can you express to me and tell me like what I need to do? So, man, we went a long time. Like, a lot of bitterness and resentment had like really built up in her. And I would even say till this day, there's some things that she's still healing
Mm.
from that, because it was just a lack of communication. And like now, I make myself very hyper vigilant and present, when it comes to that, because I don't want another segment like that where she feels like she's alone. And to answer your question again, I don't know if I went kind of off the rate, but
It's all good.
men know men know internally like what they can get away with and what they can and cannot do. The
Mm.
woman has already expressed that to them, and without proper communication, it can become very toxic. Very.
Mm. Man, that's good, because you have a lot of situations where, and granted, and praise God, you and your wife are together, but what about, and even look at the parents who aren't together, that the guy, he just kind of do as he want to. My wife and I always say optional parenting, right?
Yeah, optional parenting. Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe if I want to today, maybe not. Depends on which way the wind blows, you know. But I do think a lot of guys know that if I have a baby with this woman and we don't make it, I think that's why a lot of guys refuse to take care of their child, because they know the mother's going to take care of it,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
take care of him or her. So they just choose not to parent. But you
Yeah.
can't be mad at him if he choose not to parent, because like I said, you can't be mad. But if I believe there should always be a degree of accountability.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
men
Absolutely.
men respond to accountability.
Yeah.
You know, and not to get off track, but I always tell single women, I'm like, the number one, maybe the number two question you can ask a man is, who are you accountable to?
Ooh,
That's
boy.
the that's the number two question you can ask a man, because if he be like, oh, I got it out the mud, I'm a grown ass man and I ain't accountable to nobody, you better run.
Run, run,
You know what I'm saying?
run.
You gotta have a man that's going to be accountable. I don't care if that's his daddy. Hopefully, it's God. Hopefully, he had that personal relationship. Look, Jason, there's a lot of things I am not going to do because God had me on a short leash.
Thanks.
I always tell people the stuff that a lot of people do, I can't get away with. I got a father in heaven that's gonna be like, boy, I will beat you down in a New York minute if you don't be responsible about your business, because you minds.
Right.
But
Right.
that's just my personal relationship with him, but to each his own.
Right.
So that's why I feel that I think a lot of times when it comes to dating, we ask the wrong questions.
Ooh, man, that's good, man.
Yeah.
And I want to piggyback off of that, man. Accountability is really big, man, because that is the essence of being a man. Like you have to be accountable to someone. And a lot of times, either we're accountable to the wrong person and they're giving us toxic information, or we're accountable to the right person. And as a father, man, that's one key thing, man. If you, I'm speaking to the men on this. If you don't have anybody, man, find someone, get in some type of discipleship class, man. Find something that you can report to, you can talk to, you can get some advice to, man. The Bible says, man, in the council of I'm sorry, in the
The
multitude of
multitude of
counsel,
counsel,
there's
there's
safety.
safety.
I'm sorry, I stumbled upon my words, man. But yeah, man, there's safety in it, man. Like you'll make some wise and prudent decisions, man, when you have somebody in your ear speaking to you, man, and let you know, like, what is this? What direction you should go to? This way, that way. Make a left, make a right. Don't make this turn. So you have to have that in your life, man, in order to become a great father.
Mm-hmm.
I I'm not where I am, man, if I didn't have, Pastor Bruce Parks, man, if I didn't have Winston Cooper, man, Nathaniel Chevalier, and then some good friends that I have that was in my life to, show me and point to me the right direction, man, on becoming a father. Like I said, I jumped into this, man, with nothing. And all of a sudden I inherited 4 beautiful kids. So, it can be done. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm the same way, man. I always tell people, if it wasn't for my brother, if it wasn't for Pastor R.A. Vernon in Cleveland, Ohio, who was my first pastor, who, when I gave my life to Christ, he came down there and he said, God have an awesome plan for your life if you want him to use you. First man that spoke that kind of life into me, I was like, really? Like, who, me? He's like, yeah, you. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I grew up with hood dudes who told me all things that's contrary. They gave me street knowledge, But to walk in integrity, that was where my brother came in, and my Pastor Vernon came in. This is where my college professor, Sam Sacco, Italian dude, looked like this big biker dude, got these big old long freaking
That Fu Manchu.
beard. Yeah, right. But
Yeah.
he took me under his wing, man, and from my seminary college that I was going to, he was like, "Hey man, you want to meet up for coffee?" And not only was he my professor, but he was discipling me, man. And those type of men, Pastor Bland, man, who had a radio station in Arizona, who let me jump on his radio station that cost him $75,000 a month and let me have my own segment on his radio station. Those men, like, just held me accountable. Nope, you don't treat women like that. Nope, you do this, you do that. But nowadays we live in this age of shaming. I guess we have accountability shaming now. You tell somebody about themselves and then you're accountability shaming me.
No, you're judging me. That's what it is. When you call somebody out, no, you judging me. No, I'm calling you out. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah,
I'm making you better. And like, that's the thing about it, man. Like that, it's crazy because when you have a person, man, and like Ty Tribbett said something that made so much sense. It was funny, but it made so much sense. If you get in the car with me and I smell like boo boo, I done stepped in boo boo, and you don't tell me, like, and you just sitting up here smelling my BS, like, what, you're not a friend. You're gonna tell me I stink. You're gonna tell me that I need to go and do something about that. And that's all accountability is, man. And like people, they call you toxic. They say you judging them when you call them out on their situations, man. And it's like, you have to grow enough to be able to and humble yourself enough to be able to accept accountability, man. And that's one thing in fatherhood. You have to be accountable, man. You're again, it's really imperative with the men because we set the tone, we set the standard. We are the foundation. We are the thing that you build upon. Like I don't know, I forgot the person's name, but they said that out of us are nations. So that's why it's so vital when one of us die, because there's nations inside of us. And I'm getting stirred up just thinking about this, but man, like it's so imperative that we have responsible fathers, responsible instructors, man. The Bible says that there are many instructors but few fathers. So we have to have some people, man, that are instructing us, that is coaching us, that is fathering us, that is building us up, man, because there's nations in us. Why do you think that? And I'm trying to be nice and hold my thought, but why do you think that it's so much of a I'm gonna go ahead and say it's so much of a big thing on the homosexual aspect of it, because it's like they're trying to put it in a place to where we cannot create. And I'll be quiet on it, but it's wow, man. I'm just really getting stirred up. But fatherhood is big, man. It's really big. That's all I have to say.
No, for sure. Yeah, because you're gonna get canceled.
Yeah.
Just say it's 40 unfiltered though, but I know where you're coming from. We got love for all people, man. God loves everybody.
Yeah.
Jesus is for everybody, right? I will say that oh yeah, and I forgot to say too, man, while I was talking, man, shout out to my friend Jimmy Dragon, who was my boy for years, man. Another brother who we had accountability. We were both the same age, but we held each other accountable.
Yeah.
And that brother has helped me with so much, man. I remember writing my second book, and he was like, how much everything costs? And I gave him the price, and he was like, here. And he wrote me a check. He said, here, man, I want to see your book bless millions. You know what I'm saying? People like that's in your life, man. And we've been boys for years, but having people like that to hold each other accountable and can talk about our weak points in life and stuff like that. And even as fathers, like where we struggle with as dads and how we can become better. That's important, man.
Very important.
Very important. And there was something else that I wanted to say too, but anyway, I forgot. Also during this study, I was looking at, this says, I think there's something we can touch on too. It says physical and mental health disparities are another factor rarely address that's significant to the well-being of fathers of color. For example, Black men experience the worst health outcomes of any other demographic group. And at age 45, Black men have a life expectancy that is 3 years less than non-Hispanic and white men. Poor health is often symptomatic of poverty. Health, in turn, has an impact on sustained poverty. Um, Black men, yeah, age 45 have a life expectancy that is 3 years less than non-Hispanic and white men. Man, what's up with Black men and our health, man? I know this is another one that we rarely discuss too, but we got high blood pressure, we dealing with homicide, we dealing with suicide, we dealing with anything from the side. It's just like
Wow, true,
man,
true.
we have so many things against us, man, from health to like, man, what are your thoughts when I was reading that?
Um, a lot of it, man, and then too, also this does come under the umbrella of fatherhood, because
Mm-hmm.
how can we father if we're not here? So, man, I think it's a lot of things, man. I know with Black men, and I can say 7 out of 10. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we have a complex sometime where I'm good. I don't need to go to no doctor, and we have a lot of taboos when it comes to seeking help from a medical physician, because of what's transpired in the past, the Tuskegee situation, just all those different things, man. We have all these preconceived notions and things that just really cause us to be really reluctant when it comes to going to the doctor. Now, more so, it's less within the millennials, because we're a little bit younger.
Mm-hmm.
But like my dad's age, those baby boomers, oh man, you can't get them to go to the doctor. And it's sad, because it's a lack of knowledge. The Bible says my people perish for the lack of knowledge.
Yep.
So I'll say this. I think it's just the whole maverick complex of just, man, like I want to hold things in. I
Mm-hmm.
want to eat how I want to eat. And at the end of the day, you are what you eat, and Jesus said, man, it's not what goes
Goes
into a man
in a
that
man.
defiles him, but it's what comes out of him. And that too, man, it's kind of like you don't let anything come out of you. You hold things in, man, and it causes you to you don't cry, you don't show emotion, you don't take care of yourself, you don't go to the doctor, just things like that, man, and it really causes a health decline. My grandfather, he died at the age of 68,
Mm-hmm.
and my dad, he's 67 now, and I'm not speaking or wishing anything, but in the back of my mind, just as a human,
Right.
subconsciously, it's like I always kind of like, that's a fear of mine, that maybe he'll pass, at 68. I'm not speaking that at all, God forbid.
Right.
But it's just kind of one of them things. It's like he had heart issues, died of a heart attack. My dad has heart issues. So it's just those different, like, hereditary, like, mindset things.
Mm-hmm.
My dad recently had COVID, and it took a prayer,
Mm-hmm.
like several prayers, for him to actually get to the point to where I want to go get seen by a doctor. He had the Yeah, it was really bad.
Right.
So I was actually preparing for his arrangements for him to, go on, to his maker, because I I didn't know it was that bad. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Man, no, that's heavy, man, because and I've realized in my own life, because with my wife, she a nurse, so it's like I don't have any options.
right, right, right,
She like, we're going here, we're going there, we're going this, we're going there, and I'm 43, so she like, yeah, we're gonna have to make sure make sure your butt is taken care of. I told my wife, I always joke around with her and tell her I'm not going anywhere because I need a nurse to take care of me when I'm old.
right.
Uh, but yeah, man, I think us going to the doctor and stuff like that, and I struggled with this, but I know how important it is, man, to make sure you get your checkup, your physical health and your mental health, and especially with eating. man, I used to weigh 280 pounds. I'm down to 197 now. Uh,
Man,
we have to take care of our temples, man. We only get one. I heard
one.
I heard one doctor, he say, this isn't scripted. This is the real movie. You know what I'm saying? Like
Ooh,
you don't get to do a take again. And very few people have the opportunity to get a second take, if you know what I mean, as far as getting a second chance at life. But we don't value our health, man, until we get that scare.
yeah, and it's funny you say that, man, because oftentimes, you know, we're charged to discipline ourselves as far as not talking about people, not, lying on people, not cheating, not, doing things like that. But we don't really just expound on taking care of our temple, and that's the same thing. God gave us one body, like you said, and it's like, how dare you, and I'm speaking on me too, ouch on me, because how dare we, intake things that hurt us, that constantly, and we know it, and yet it's still, we still take on things, and we eat things, and we, drink things that causes us to, our bodies to, decay,
Mhm.
basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, it's and the funny thing is we rarely talk about health in church, right? When there's a lot of scriptures that talk about gluttony.
Man,
You know, no,
man.
how many of us go to bed at night and be like, Lord, forgive me for being a glutton?
Yeah.
We don't think that that's a sin, you know.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. My pastor says, he says this, like, he said, I'd rather be in the place of abundance, in the place of in the blessed place of God, rather than expecting a miracle.
Mhm.
And I never understood that. He was like, when you're in abundance and when you're in the blessed place of God, you don't need to expect a miracle. A miracle is something that happens beyond the supernatural. That happens like that. Whenever you've seen miracles transpire, there always was a deficit or a lack. And when you're in a blessed place, you're not going to need that. When you're in a place of abundance, there's no such thing as lack. So I would rather be in a blessed place of taking care of my body, in the place of abundance, to where I'm taking care, I'm doing the proper things that I need to do. I'm exercising, I'm taking my vitamins, just those things, so I can be around, instead of, I get down, like you say, something happens to us, and oh, we need a miracle.
Yep.
We need this to happen. Man, saints pray. We're afflicted, we're sick, stuff like that. And all you could have did is just take care of yourself.
That's all you had to do, man. I heard a pastor, heard Pastor Andy Stanley say that when you don't take care of your health, what you're telling your spouse is, I won't take care of me now, so you can take care of me later.
Ooh,
And
whoa.
and I don't know if he was saying it, somebody else was, maybe somebody else was saying this too, but they were saying how we always talk about physical cheating. You know, I'll leave you if you cheat on me and all that stuff. She was like, but what happens when you cheat your health? Because you cheat your spouse out of a possible 20 years of life that you could have had, but you died from a heart attack because you was eating bad, or you had high blood pressure. So you actually cheated your family because you didn't choose to take care of your health. So you
uh,
cheated, you know what I'm saying? You cheated your spouse. But we only talk about physical cheating, but we don't talk about physical cheating.
wow. And that's crazy, man. And one thing I also wanted to put in here is, I don't know if you had on the list to talk about, man, in fatherhood, but just leaving an inheritance, for your children. And of course, the scripture says a great man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. And can you just expound a little bit on it, Shon?
Yeah, man. Inheritance, man. I think it's important because we build in our marriages, at least we should be building for legacy, right? We should be building for a long term. Um, Life insurance, right? Let's talk about that. You know, and I ain't even trying to sell you an insurance policy. I'm just telling you how important it is as a man. I think it's important that, look, if I die today, my family will be straight. I took out a big enough policy to where, you know, my wife could keep it moving with our kids and she don't miss a beat. That's a part of stewardship. That's a part of leaving that
Ooh.
legacy, that your family don't miss a beat because of what you left here on the earth, right? You know, I think you should have some friends that got some money, and not so much of what you can get from them, but what you can learn, right? They can help you stretch your mind further than where you know what you think. And because rich people, they always think of the future. They always think of the inheritance. You know, they always leaving their kids something. Think about how many of us, Chris Rock said this. He said, Chris Rock said, white people leave wills, black people leave bills.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Yes,
right.
sir. Yes,
Think about how
sir.
many people got to have a GoFundMe account because you don't have life insurance. And I'm like, you got a whole bunch of pair of Jordans with no life insurance, or you got your money phone on Instagram with no life insurance.
None.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So we got to do better. A lot of times when we're young, we think we're invincible. But if you build for the future, that's part of you being a man, is preparing for your future. And those who you've been entrusted with. But I can go on and on and on about that. I don't know if that answers your question or not.
Oh, absolutely, man. I I think what really sparks me in that, man, is because, man, you have people, man, that are in very high places, man, well respected, man, that when they passed, man, they didn't leave anything, you know, for their children, man. I mean, look at Dr. King, you know, as great of a legacy he's left as far as the moral concepts of how you should treat people, the impact that he made on the civil rights movement, man, the books, man, the speeches that he made, just how much he transcended and impact, you know, this world upon his acts, man. They're fighting right now over here, you know, of his estate. Like, he didn't really leave anything. He had no will, no nothing. There's a whole bunch of other, you know, great actors and celebrities, man, that was in the same situation, man. It made all this great money. And I'm not saying that Dr. King did, but I'm sure he was taken care of.
Yeah.
But, you know, just to say, man, that they never just left anything, you know, for their children. And one thing I like about Warren Buffett, man, is that he stated, and me and my wife, we kind of got into it about this, but just had disagreement about this. He said that he's not really leaving anything for his kids. He said what he did is he's taught them how to obtain the wealth he did. He gave them the secret. He gave them the recipe, and that's the legacy. And man, that spoke so much volumes to me, because what's the saying, Shon? I can teach you. I mean, I can catch a fish for you, but if I teach you how to catch a fish, you will never be hungry. And that's what Warren Buffett did for his children. Man, he taught them how to fish. He taught them the keys and the concepts of how he obtained all of his wealth. And man, that's a beautiful thing. And I think also, man, like, we don't speak on it, but one of my great friends, man, Nate, he the way he interpreted that scripture about a real father leaving a legacy for his children's children, he said, if I taught them the concepts of the things that I learned, taught them the ways of Christ, taught them how to be, you know, entrepreneurs, taught them all these things, that's the legacy that I left for them. You know, of course, we do need life insurance. I'm a life insurance agent. I'm an insurance agent. We do need insurance. We do need all of these things, man. And that's something that we should leave to our kids, man. We had this thing I did with Primerica when we were doing our KTs, our kitchen table interviews. And we had this thing called the love test. And we would ask the couples, we would basically say to them, okay, so if you were to die right now, would your wife go to bed at night knowing on her mind that she's at peace with everything, that everything is taken care of? And if you can't answer yes, it's a problem. And so, you know, to you know, bounce back on what you were saying, all that's important, man. Leaving that legacy.
I totally agree, man. This is, man, we need to do a part two for this, because there's stuff that I ain't even
Yeah.
get to really tackle that I wanted us to, man. But I wanted to be respectful of the people's time. Jason, let everyone know how they can get in touch with you via social media.
You can reach me on Facebook, man. Just type in Jason Lockhart, man. And on Instagram is Jackson Heights on, Jackson Heights _on.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. Y'all make sure y'all connect with Jason. Make sure you connect with me as well. Make sure you leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts when you hear this via audio. And if you are watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Share this video with another man. Share this with somebody because there's so much wisdom. All the stuff that Jason and I have learned over the years, you can learn in 60 minutes. How powerful is that? Make sure that
Man,
you stay connected with us. This is Shon Hyneman.
Jason Lockhart.
All right, people, y'all take care.
Yes, sir.